Hello everyone, welcome to 12 AM Coding. So today we are going to discuss about a new concept in our Spring Boot series, which is the part of the profiling which we covered in the last tutorial about how we can do the profiling in the properties or configurations file. Okay, so what happens? Let me tell you the concept that we are having this application properties, right? Either this can be a YAML file also. YAML is a little different format, but this can be. That's not a problem. Now the thing is that we are having this particular properties file, and in the last tutorial we have learned about this spring profile active. According to the profiles, our spring boot will inject the beans. Okay, so we have discussed about the dev profile, we have created one class, and for prod we have created one class, and then when we was calling it inside our controller, then according to the profiling the classes will be initialized, okay, inside the application context. So let me tell you one example. Let's say in your code, let's say you are using one variable, let's say name. Okay, and this name is defined, let's say at multiple places, let's say 30 places. Okay, 30 places. Now let's say you have hard coded this name, let's say anything, Apple. Okay, you hard coded this as Apple. Now let's say tomorrow you need to change this particular name, then what you need to do? You need to change this 30 places for your name, and let's say orange you need to make it, right? So you need to change 30 places, right? So rather than keeping hard coded into the code this particular thing, what you can do, you can just keep it inside your application properties. Okay, application properties, or it can be YAML file also. We will discuss about it, that's not a problem, it's just a file formats. So what you can do, you can keep here the name, okay, and you can give the apple, okay, and inside your code, let's say you are having multiple classes. In one class you want to access this particular variable. Okay, so what you can do, you can use a specific notation at the rate value. Okay, and in this at the rate value you can define actually what value you want. And here if you, let's say, private uh, name, if you do, right, so what it will do, it will go and pick from here. Okay, so let's say this particular name is defined at multiple classes, right? So you don't need to hard code it. Okay, you simply need to copy this thing, paste it here. You simply need to um, you can do in the same in the different classes. So what is the benefit of this? You don't need to change at multiple places, because in the real world application, like in the industry level application, some things can be used 1,000 times. So you cannot go and change 1,000 times, right? It will take time, it will error prone and all. So due to that we can keep these data into the profiles. Now, here comes one more thing. For example, you are having a profile name as Apple. Okay. And let's say this is in the development environment. You want to keep it as Apple. But for example, in the production, you want to keep it some different. So in the prod environment, you want to keep this name as something else. Okay. For example, anything, let's say grapes. Okay. So grapes you want to keep, right? So in the same file, it's difficult to maintain, right? According to the regions, right? According to the profiles actually. Now we know about profiles, so I'll be telling this as profile. So in the dev profile, we want to keep it as apple. In the prod profile, we want to keep it as grapes. Okay. So this is little like tricky, right? So we need to, might be for implementing this one, we need to hard code some things and do some things. But Spring provides a very beautiful way to implement this thing. What we can do, let me show you. So first of all, let me create one property. Okay, let me remove this profiling for now. First of all, let's see how we can read the values. So in this, let's say I am having fruit name. Okay, and this name will be, let's say, apple for now. Okay, and in our controller, rather than using this, I am removing it simply. Here I can use at the rate value. Okay, and this at the rate value will be having this particular property. Okay, fruit dot name. Okay, and then here I can do private string name. Okay, or fruit name. Okay, and I can return this particular fruit name. Okay, now let's see, let me run our application and see how it goes. So I just define this simple property and I am reading in the controller and returning it. So let's see how it goes. Okay, so my application is started. If I refresh it, it is giving fruit name actually. Oh, we need a dollar also. Okay, so I forgot the dollar. So if we rerun our application, then if you see, then it is giving apple. Okay, because it is coming from apple, we need this particular format. In the quotation, you need to provide a dollar and then curly braces. Okay, so this way you are reading the fruit name. But for example, let's say in the test you want to keep it as some different name. So what we can do, with the same name, we can create one more file. Let's say dev. Okay, and in this dev, for example, I'm removing all these things because we don't need these things. This will be default profile actually. Spring will be having a default profile which is coming from this particular, which is not having any specific name. So in the application.dev, let me make it as apple from dev, and I'll be creating one more profile, one more file for the prod profile, okay, for the production, and I'll be keeping apple prod. Okay, so now, for example, that I'm having by default Apple. So if I run this application now, it will give Apple only because we haven't specified any profile. So by default, Spring is taking this default profile. Okay, but let's say if I define the profile or Spring actually, Spring dot profile dot active. If I define this active profile as dev, okay, so what it should do? It should give the priority to the dev actually. So let me run it. So as soon as I define the profile as dev, which for which any file is available, this particular file is available, right? So it is giving Apple dev. And for example, if I convert it to prod, then it will be using your prod profile file. So if you see, we got the Apple prod. Now, for example, we are having a prod here, but if I remove this particular data from the prod, then what will happen? It will automatically go to the default. Okay, so it is going here. So what does it means? That how this profiling works is, if you are having one particular, let's say, file, okay, if you are having one, let's say, let me remove it. So if we are having one application dot properties, okay, and then we are having let's say in the beginning we are having application prod.properties, and then we are having application.properties. So what will happen? The order of execution, the order of retrieval of the data will be from top to bottom. That first it will be seeing if you are having any profile available with this particular current profile we have defined into application prop. If that value is present into this one, then it will be reading from this one. Else it will go to by default. And if it is not available, then it will not do, or it will throw the error actually. Okay, so I hope this particular thing is making sense, that we can do the profiling via the files also. Just we need to provide the name. By default, Spring will be having the default profile, which is your normal application dot properties. And for if you want to define any profile, then you can make it as name. Okay, and then that particular profile you need to put in Spring profile active. Okay, and in the same way, rather than properties file, you can use the YAML file also. Okay, it's a little bit easy and it's a good one. So what you can do, let's say this particular entire file I need to write in YAML format. So I can do server port, okay, and this particular port I can assign it as 8090. So I can remove this from here. Then Spring, then application name, I can do like this, and then name will be this one, and your application name is this. And the good thing about it is you can just define the profile in this tree structure actually. Okay, and then it came as prod. Okay, so if you see, like in the properties file, we need to define spring.application.name and then spring.profile.active. But at this particular level, we have just differentiated it and we are putting it in this way. So this is the YML format. So either you can keep properties or YML, it's up to you. But Like YML, generally we keep YML actually in production grade application, okay, in industry. So yes, I think, and in the same way you can just make these dev and prod also YMLs, and it will be working in the same way. So yeah guys, that's it for this particular tutorial. I hope this profiling in the files is making sense. So if you like the video, then just press the like button and share with your friends and subscribe the channel. Okay, thank you, see you in the next tutorial.